This is Core Conversations with Natalie Baggio.
Welcome back to Core Conversations. Today, we're continuing to talk about how we're building a workforce here in Southwest Michigan. And today, I have Dr. Maddie Massa with me to talk about her experience of our physician residency program, her practice in the emergency room, and how she's making a difference here in our community. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here today. It's going to be great for our listeners to hear about your journey and your experience. And part of one of our strategies for the last many years on how to get more talent here locally, especially our physicians, has been our residency program.
Yeah.
And I know you went through that program. So I'd love if you'd be open to telling our listeners about your past history and how you came to Southwest Michigan.
Yeah, I started my journey here even before residency. I went to Michigan State for medical school, and thankfully, our hospital is one of our core sites for medical students.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite know where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be on the west side of Michigan because it's so beautiful over here. And I ended up getting placed here in St. Joseph at Lakeland. And I knew kind of right from the beginning, I was like, oh, this place is, I didn't really know much about it, but I was like, oh, this place is a good place to learn. And I realized how strong our programs are here as a medical student, and thankfully matched as a resident as well. And then I call myself a lifer because through residency, I mean, we just have such a good group of physicians to work with, and the community is great. So I knew I wanted to stick around, and I signed on as an attending.
That's great.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in mid-Michigan,
Okay.
in the Lansing area. And yeah, like I said, I have vacationed to the west side of Michigan throughout growing up, and so kind of knew how wonderful it was over here, but didn't spend a ton of time down here.
It, yeah.
Yeah.
What inspired you to become a physician?
Oh man, I think I always was interested in the medical field. Didn't quite know what I wanted to do, but actually my grandmother had an osteopathic physician, and I went to the osteopathic school. And in high school, she was the one who said, like, hey, you should think about doing this. And I kind of thought, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Liked the holistic kind of mentality of it. And I think I was always kind of questioning, like, oh, is this going to work out for me? But I applied and got in, and realized once I started medical school, I was like, yeah, this is for me. This is exactly what I want to do. Science-wise, interacting with patients, so it fit.
It's great. And now you're an emergency room physician.
Yeah.
As one of your hats.
Yeah. So also something I never thought I wanted to do. When I started rotations, I actually thought to myself, the one thing I don't want to do is emergency medicine. And then I rotated through it, and I said, okay, wait, I got to reconsider this. This is pretty awesome.
So what drew you to emergency medicine?
Yeah. The variety of cases you see, the procedural experience or exposure you get, you kind of have the opportunity to be a plastic surgeon, be an intensivist, be an internist, depending on who the patient is.
Yeah.
So
you like that variety.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. There's a lot of intensity in the emergency room as well.
Yeah, there is. It can be a lot some days, but other days you get a break and it's not too bad. Yeah.
So you navigate into the ER, and then you started helping build future residents. And I know you have a pretty long title in the program.
Yeah. Yes, I am technically one of the, it used to be the clinical learning environment director, but I help coordinate additional education for the residents that our accrediting body mandates, and then got involved as a core faculty for the emergency medicine residents. Spent some time as a student faculty as well, and then am involved with the well-being work within the GMU space for all the residency programs too.
Which is really important to mirror the academic side with the well-being side to help people be really successful in the program.
Yeah, it's true. And I think a lot of practices that residents, or a lot of ways that residents start practicing is the way they'll continue it. So we're hoping that kind of building the foundation of well-being as soon as possible will help them be more successful. Yeah.
That's great. How many residents do you have today that you're helping support in our programs?
Yeah, we have 67 residents currently. So we have residents in 3 different programs: emergency medicine, family medicine, and internal medicine.
And I know statistically we retain about 30%.
Yeah.
And when I think about your journey and how you went through the program and you decided to stay here, like at what point through the program did you really know, like, I would be interested in exploring taking a full-time position and living in Southwest Michigan?
Yeah, as I mentioned, from being a medical student here, I kind of knew that it was a great area and I liked being here. But then towards the end of my third year, beginning of the fourth year of my residency program, I was sitting down and thinking through things a little bit more and kind of thinking about what other locations had to offer versus what we had here. And I just knew that we had a great group of colleagues to work with. Both the physicians, but also our nurses are great and really build relationships together. And then I also knew that we had great support from leadership. And so I knew I wanted a practice that kind of had all those components to it.
And now you're able to help infiltrate that through the residents.
Exactly.
And recognizing that you don't have any available openings in emergency room full-time positions.
I know.
That there's a wait list. So, I mean, that speaks to the culture and a lot of the different elements that you just talked about that have led to success and keeping people here. And obviously your leadership and the leadership of the other faculty makes such a difference in how people feel about the work that they're doing.
Yeah, well, we hope so. And we want to convey that to all of our residents that's kind of the place we're trying to build.
We know one of the challenges across Southwest Michigan has been housing. So we've invested in housing to help mitigate that as a challenge to continuing to grow the residency programs.
Yeah.
Do you hear that as a positive or from the students?
Definitely. Actually, it's funny because I was the first residency class to utilize the apartments, Lookout Point. And it was wonderful. Great facilities, good finishes, and only 7 minutes away from the hospital. Yeah. So you knew when you had to get up early to go in for rounds or get called in for a delivery or something on your rotation, you could roll out of bed and be there quickly. But I continue to hear that from our residents. And even I was listening to a student conversation the other day, and one talking to another, and they were like, oh yeah, this is really nice housing. Like, this is better than we've had at, such and such other place. So it's good to continue to hear that.
That's good. So when our medical students are here and they're staying there, it helps inspire them to even think about, well, this is a possibility. It's something I don't have to be challenged about if I have an opportunity to do my residency here.
Yeah.
What else about the program do you think would be important for the community to hear?
Yeah, I think we have the unique privilege of having somewhat smaller programs because we're a smaller hospital, but we still get really great exposure to a variety of cases. From a management perspective, we manage a wide variety of things from the ER to the inpatient side, and there's a lot of kind of one-on-one experience as a resident, but even more so from a student perspective that you may not get at other locations because you may be fourth, fifth, sixth in line as that student if you're at another bigger academic place. So it's a wonderful experience as a student, but certainly as a resident as well.
I don't think people realize, I didn't even realize when I moved here to like a more rural area, the amount of trauma that you would experience here in our emergency rooms. And so our physicians have to be very well trained, and I'm sure they get lots of experience because of that. So
it's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised at that as well. Yeah, we see a wide variety of things. Yeah, from trauma to other critical care patients to even just a lot of routine stuff that is needed to know and see regularly.
Mm-hmm. So as people think about considering a career path to become a physician or would be going into residency, what would be one piece of advice you would offer them?
Yeah, I would say personally, if you're interested, I wasn't quite sure if it would work out for me. I would say just take the leap and go ahead and do it. And specifically, if you're interested in coming here, come out and see us and experience the area, because once you come down, you'll understand why it's a great place to be.
Well, it's been great having you on the podcast and sharing your journey and more information about our residency program. But I appreciate your leadership, and physicians and leaders like you are what's going to make a difference for us to continue to grow our physicians here in Southwest Michigan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us today on this episode of Core Conversations.